This is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing well. This is Julianne Condia, the host of Rewritten. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for your reviews and your DMs, the tagging. I'm so about it, and I'm so grateful. And I just love surrounding myself with other people who just want others to win. I was just thinking about that. I was celebrating someone in my life for hitting a milestone in their business. And I just think that sometimes people, I don't want to say we and assume that you do, think with this scarcity mindset, this limited mindset, that the space is taken up, that we own the space. We don't own the space. I don't own the podcast space. I don't own the entrepreneurship space. I don't own the fitness space, and neither do you. And I just think that when we can remind ourselves of that and how much room there really is for all of us to do whatever it is that sets our soul on fire, we can do it. There's plenty of room. You don't own the book writing space, right? You can do it if that is your dream. And I just think that your voice is so valuable. Your voice is needing to be heard. And I'm just really excited for 2020. I'm excited for what is to come for you. Today, I want to talk about who you need to become. So as I reflect on my journey and the things that I've done, and I just always feel like I am in the state of reflection, and I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always thinking about how I can get better. I think we always have to think who we need to become. So I've been watching and listening to a lot of personal development, and recently I listened to an interview that Lewis Howes did with Kobe Bryant. And it was very powerful for me to listen to. I listened to it 3 times. And if you don't know Lewis Howes, he interviews incredible people. And I love that we have virtual mentorship right at our fingertips on our phone. So his podcast is School of Greatness. And he has an archived School of Greatness that are some of his best interviews he's ever done. And I want to say it's called the Hall of Fame or something like that with School Podcast. It's an additional one to his main one. And Kobe Bryant is in that one. And it's just so good. It is so worth the listen of just his mentality of hard work, that he'll outwork anybody. But I think if there was a theme that wasn't necessarily said, but one that I picked up, was just thinking about who do you need to become in order to be who you want. And when you're listening to Kobe, he's talking about he grew up fairly privileged. And I think a lot of people categorized him or put him in a box of privilege. And he thought, well, regardless if I'm privileged or not, I'm going to outwork you. So when he was not good at basketball, he didn't even make a shot. He would just practice. And he had this mindset, and he had taught this to his daughter, saying, well, if you think of it like this, most kids that are playing basketball are playing for 3 months. What if for every single day of the year you put in the work and you put in the practice? That would set you up so much farther in the future. And you have to become somebody to become disciplined to be able to do that. And I was listening to another podcast. Ed Milet is one of my favorite virtual mentors. And I love Inky Johnson. If you've never heard of him, look him up. He's so incredible, so inspiring, and so wonderful. I always need more Inky Johnson in my life. Ed Milet interviewed him, and he said, the cards you've been dealt, pretend like they're the ones that you've been given. Or something along those lines, that no matter what your cards were dealt, just pretend like they were the cards you wanted all along. Who do you need to become in order to become the best version of yourself? Something I've been mentoring on and leading lately and reading about is legacy. And legacy is not income. Legacy is mindset. Legacy is breaking these chains that, did you know that it took 7 generations to become who you are today? That in the future, it's going to continue on for 7 generations. So right now, my choices of who I am as a person, as a mom, as a wife, right, as a friend, is going to impact 7 generations to come. Legacy. Who do I need to become to make sure that I am leaving a strong legacy? I remember a conversation I had with my friend Shelly 3 years ago, telling her I did not believe in legacy. I thought that it was silly because we're going to heaven anyway. What is the point? And the more I've discovered about legacy, the more it's become so important to my life. Because if I can leave a good legacy, a great legacy, I can impact 7 generations to come. Impacting them on quality of life, impacting them on dreaming big, impacting them on having quality people, developing relationships, pushing past through limitations and chains and break them, right? The ones that have been weighing you down. Legacy, who do you need to become in order to do that and think like that? And I just feel like for me, starting my journey 6 years ago of entrepreneurship as a full-time teacher, trying to figure out how to run a business that I never went to school for, I didn't have a degree in, and still maintain a full-time job, I had to become somebody. And that person had to be disciplined. That person had to show up when she was tired. That person had to dream bigger beyond what she ever even knew what was possible. I had to become so a fan of my own self, of showing up when no one else saw, so I would show up. I had to learn to continue to navigate working full-time and working a business while other people doubted me. I had to see so into my future of what was possible and become that version of myself, because that version of myself would get me there. Because so often people want to take shortcuts and they want to skip corners and they just want it to go faster. But at the end of the day, it's never the result, but always the process. That process develops us. That process is what makes us a better human being. You're not wealthy based on your bank account, which that helps, sure, but that doesn't actually create happiness. You just become more of the person you are with more money. So if you're already frugal, which is, I think, a good thing, then you'll become more frugal with more money. If you're happy with more money, you'll become more happy just because you're already happy. If you're a giver now, you're just going to become more giving. But if you're stingy and you're limited and you live in scarcity, that is just going to continue to grow. It's never going to be enough if you do not develop yourself. Developing yourself and becoming who you need to become to get there is everything. So for me, I had to become this full-time entrepreneur before I was even doing that. I had to think like an entrepreneur. I had to think like this successful person I wanted to be. I had to think not with limitations and a paycheck to paycheck type of thing and see if this might work. I had to know that it was going to work. I had to see into my future and be like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I had to become that version in order to become successful. And so often in leadership or all the things I help women with, right? Sharing their story or going debt free or whatever it is, you've got to become the person that you want to be. And that's going to take massive discipline, massive belief, and massive patience because it takes time. Friend, thank you so much for tuning in. I was downstairs in my office. I heard the garage door open and came upstairs as I was sharing. And I just want you to know I'm just a mom and a wife, an entrepreneur in her kid's bedroom right now, recording a podcast from my phone, all because I have something to say and so do you. This is so heavy on my heart in such a beautiful way that I just want you to win. I don't own the space. You don't own the space, but there's enough space for us. How freeing is that? Whatever you want to do, you can do it. And I feel like that's why you tune in. If you could screenshot this, upload it, tag me, if you could rate and review it, that really matters. If you screenshot this and upload it, thank you, and you have not left a review, if you could do that, that would just be everything to me. Right now in 2020, I am mentoring women. I'm mentoring them in business, and they use fitness and nutrition and self-care and building a community as their platform in their business. They use a free platform of social media to build a business that could take them to $100 a week or to $1,000 a week or more, create more choices for their family. I think everyone can benefit from extra income, but more than anything, I want to develop women to become so self-confident and doers and action takers. I want them to have more belief in themselves. So in 2020, not only do I help women build businesses, but I also want to help them with their legacy. I want to really help them figure out what sets their soul on fire, how they can empower other people. A lot of times people say, I can't do what you do, Julianne. And I think, well, what the heck? You love encouraging people. You love cheering for other people. I think you need the most work, and that's why I want to work with you. If you're an action taker and you're willing to be coachable, let's chat. Go to juliannecondia.com or at juliannecondia on Instagram. DM me. I won't bite. I'll just chat, and we'll just talk. Friend, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Until next time.